I want to invite the Honourable Prime Minister and the elected representative of this constituency to come now and bring fraternal greetings to Bishop Seaton and to us.
Thank you very much, Reverend Hughes. It is a special delight for me to be here, and I want to acknowledge the protocol which you have established, save to extend my own special warm welcome to all members of the clergy who are here at the Tabernacle Methodist Church, and equally in particular to recognize Pastor Gilfillan, Pastor Gilbert, Pastor Payne, and several others who are local pastors here in this community. And in doing so, I also want to recognize Mr. Julius Abraham, who is back after a sojourn abroad and still a fully committed member of the Methodist Church. So I bid all welcome, and to the people of Tabernacle, this is your special moment. I want you to give a round of applause for yourselves and for this wonderful community for producing an outstanding villager in the person of Bishop Charles Antioch Seaton. Bishop Seaton has long felt the love and admiration of the good people of Tabernacle, and he has certainly been an outstanding role model for all of us. For my own childhood odyssey, I recall a quiet gentleman who went around the community serving as teacher. And I gather he had a stint from the 1970 to about 1979. I remember him also for his leadership in the community, the 4-H group, the Boys Brigades, etc., etc. And it is therefore a special honor to have Mr. Eustace Warner and all the other uniform bodies come out today. Let's give them a warm hand of appreciation. This evening's ceremony event is particularly important. Important not just to us who consider ourselves natural, born here, Tabernacleonians, but important in the context of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and important too in the context of the entire Leeward Island and Americas Methodist Church, which form part of this conference. It is significant because this week, right here in St. Kitts, in a Methodist church, we made history as a people in that the first ever bishop for the Methodist Church in these parts have been duly inducted, and the name of that son of the soil henceforth is the Bishop Charles Antioch Seaton. Charles left teaching, and excuse me for saying Charles, Bishop Charles Seaton left St. Kitts to pursue something perhaps much more important, much more divinely driven, to prepare himself for wider service to the Christian community. And in that particular vocation and call, he would have a stint in St. Thomas, in the BVI, in Antigua, in St. Martin, in Mount Strat, and in St. Thomas. Last time I believe I connected with him briefly was at an event in the BVI. It is for all of us who have seen him grown to become a bishop, a moment of great happiness and joy. Because in a way, this admirable gentleman from Tabernacle always stood out among the many. And I'm sure coming back as he has now to Tabernacle, to be among friends and family, several memories must now load his mind. From my own childhood memory, Bishop Charles Seaton was always about community. And last night, I mentioned, and I have to repeat it now, among the circle of people I was aware with which he would associate and get together, all of them had a strong, and all of them now do have still, a very strong foundation in the church. And so it was Vanta Archibald, teacher Vanta way back then. It was Susanna Lee, teacher Miss Lee, way back then. It was Isilma Springer, she was a teacher then too. We had Bernice Rollins. I'm not quite sure she was a teacher, but she was a Sunday school teacher in any event. And so all that core group of persons were really the leadership of the community. Susanna Lee and teacher Vanta in the Brownies and the Girl Guides providing leadership. And they, in their respective ways, in their respective churches, all stood test fast in service to God, and by extension, provide support to the rest of the community. And so for me today, it is a signal honor and a privilege to congratulate Bishop Charles Seaton on a spectacular historic achievement, not only for himself, but on behalf of all of us from this great village of Tabernacle. The fact that so many have come, and even Werner has returned from Cuba in time to be part of this, is a reflection of your pervasive impact. I recall last time seeing your mother, Station Street, and always her mind was on Charles. I picked up you were her favorite son. I could have been wrong. But she always had a fond remembrance with respect to Charles. And if there's any disappointment, I believe, in the community, it is that your mother is not here somewhere in the pew to see what Charles Seaton has become. It is perhaps more than a coincidence that 2016 should be your year of induction. It is also a year in which our government have pledged to do more to lift the spiritual realm in the country and get our people into a deeper appreciation that without that recognition of a higher deity and being, we are not going to achieve the promise of prosperity which we deserve. This year, we boldly invited the church to lead the country in a week of solemn prayer. Prayer for everything which the country needs. And as we ask the church to pray for the country, I ask the country to pray for the church, because we need strong, vibrant churches in support of the work of God and in support of our country. 2016, our own Bishop Seaton now has the responsibility for all the churches near and far. And his task, perhaps in some way, may be like Nehemiah, who had a challenge to return to what has been described as the ancestral sepulchres, to rebuild, to strengthen, to find new gates, to find a new way of doing things. The people of Tabernacle, like the people of the rest of the country, hope for you, Bishop, that you will always be worthy to this task which has now been bestowed upon you, to build, to renovate, to rekindle, to re-energize a church in service to God. So on behalf of all of us, congratulations, best wishes, and remember always, Tabernacle is your home. Thank you, may God bless you.
Charles Seaton has traveled like Leat across the leeward, preaching the word of God. And I say like Leat because his first base was in Antigua from 1983 to 1984. And did you know that this brilliant Tabernacle gentleman even served in a French and Dutch country? Oui, he did. In Saint Martin and Saint Martin from 1984 to 1986. And I bet you didn't know this. He even lived in the Emerald Isle of Montserrat from 1986 to 1988. But alas, after being on the move for 5 years and demonstrating his good stewardship, he returned to the Federation, to the sister Isle of Nevis, and was promoted to superintendent for the first time from 1988 to 1991. He was very close to home, but not quite home as yet. So in 1991, our proud St. Kitts Circuit welcomed him home.
Chairing my first district council and being in the office for the first time as bishop. The induction service was a formality, but the work began on the 1st of September last year. Has been very challenging right at the start. Of course, I can't tell you why. But coming to St. Kitts has made my duties all the very difficult, very easy to cope with, simply because the church in St. Kitts has gone way past expectations in order to reach out and celebrate the occasion. The truth is, I did not know what to expect. And I believe that some people made sure that I was kept in the dark. But Jesus said, whatever is kept in the dark must come out in the light. So earlier this week, I was on a certain journey, and I was in conversation with a gentleman who was with me on the journey, and Tabernacle came up, and he said to me, oh, there's going to be a match for you in Tabernacle. I said, oh? He said, oh, I shouldn't say anything. So it slipped out. But I want to really give God thanks for you, not just the people of Tabernacle, but all of you came out this evening. I want to say thanks though to all those of you who made presentations, starting with our Prime Minister. I told the Prime Minister he was a little too young to remember some of the older days of 4-H and so on. He must have been old enough to remember something about the Boys Brigade, but 4-H was a little before your time. But those were the glory days of Tabernacle as well. There was a time when Tabernacle was teeming with really raising up our children to be leaders. I remember at one time he used to have 4-H, Boys Brigade, Girls Brigade, Girl Scouts, Brownies, and sometimes they all met here on a third Sunday for service. So you could imagine what it was like. And I want to say, I believe that one of the ways to build community is really to get back voluntary organizations. They are the foundation of any real society. I'm grateful for the many persons in Tabernacle, young and old alike, who in ways that you may not know have helped me on the journey. Because no man is an island and no man stands alone. It is always good to remember those who stood with us, behind us, in front of us, in order to help us on the way. Finally, let me say thanks to my family, as I've always done and will continue to do. Because a person who is alone does not really know the strength of family and friends. They are always a part of me. In closing, I was just listening when I said finally. In closing, I really want to register really our deep and profound gratitude for the way in which the St. Kitts Circuit, in the first instance, the second instance, the people of Tabernacle, and in the third instance, the people of St. Kitts have really risen up on this occasion to ensure that this occasion has not only made history, but has been etched, not simply on the books, the history books of this country, but certainly on the minds and the hearts of all of our people. You have really blessed me, perhaps in ways that you'll never understand. And I ask you to continue to pray for me and to pray for my family, that I may serve faithfully in the service to which God has called us.
Visit the SKNIS on YouTube to watch informative, exciting, and thought-provoking programs such as Working for You, Current Speeches, SKNIS exclusives, and much more. Hit the subscribe button to be alerted when a new video is uploaded. What are you waiting for? Head to the SKNIS and start exploring.